Brothers in Tech is a weekly podcast focused on personal and home technology, helping provide you, our fellow brothers and sisters in tech, with some information, assistance, and recommendations. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brothers in Tech. If you are joining us live, as I know many people were queued up, ready to go live with us, we had a little technical snafu, which is funny coming from a show called Brothers in Tech. that wouldn't happen. But little technical snafu. I'm not even going to talk about what happened. Just know it was somebody over this way that did the problem. So anyway, but we're back. We're here. Hello, everyone. How you doing, Brian? I would say, how are you? But we've been talking for the last few minutes. I know how you are. I
don't know what you're talking about. So why don't we just move on and not really kind of belabor that issue whatsoever. But
in all seriousness, everything going okay?
It is good. It is good. I'm excited to be back with you here. Let me just say I'm excited to have the rest of my meetings out of the way today to move on to this one, as I know you are. Yeah. This is certainly more enjoyable than the other parts of my day right now. So let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. Do you have a drink?
I agree.
Do you have a drink with you right now, or
nothing?
I don't.
Special.
I don't. Yeah. No.
Special. So some water here tonight.
You talking to you is my comfort, and if you don't step up to the plate, then I'm going to step out in about 5 minutes and go get a drink. So
I'm going to try my best. I think we've got a couple fun things to talk about today. So this is Brothers in Tech for those of you watching and stumbled across the show, don't know what you're watching or listening to. Brian and I are actual legitimate brothers. We get together on a weekly basis to talk technology, home, family, and personal technology that people use and can use every day in their personal lives. We like to talk about it. It can be a combination of sometimes it's we get deep into a subject, just a particular subject we want to get into on technology. Sometimes we're giving tips and recommendations. Our suggestions episode is kind of our big one we do every few weeks. I think we'll have another one coming up in another week or two where Brian and I pull together some tech suggestions that we'd like to recommend. Our Brothers in Tech suggestions, or our bits, as Brian has coined it. That'll be coming up soon. But tonight, a little mixed bag of some things. We got a couple things we want to talk about and show. And one of those things is a follow-up to something I teased last week on our last episode. Just go ahead and give a little heads up. I think Brian's got something to share with me first. And if you just are more curious about skipping past Brian or getting past whatever he's talking about, I'm just going to go ahead and let you know that later in the show, it'll be actually something interesting and entertaining. We are going to show the results of an artificially intelligence generated headshot photo shoot that we both took part in. Fun to find out, and anxious to see how that turned out. I teased it last week as something that I was starting and going to explore and try out. We have results.
We were hoping last week. We held on as long as we could to see if you could get those results, and now we have
1 hour after the show ended. So otherwise we would have displayed them right there live on the show in all their glory. As it is, we've actually seen them, or at least seen mine, and have some comments and thoughts. But I have not seen Brian, so I'm going to be excited to see how that turned out as well. But before we get into that, Brian, let's just catch up a little bit. Anything interesting going on in the world of technology, or any updates from past topics, or anything we want to share and talk about?
Yeah. So, I have one. I have an update. Alan, if you'll remember, I don't know how many weeks this has been, where I brought I think it was a bit, or maybe it was just when we were discussing some possibilities, but I brought up a software called Motion. And do you remember me discussing Motion? Motion was a software that takes your tasks list and feeds it into your calendar.
Right.
Uses kind of machine learning and says it's constantly going to be trying to get your tasks built into your week. So it says, hey, there's a gap of 2 hours. I'm plugging in one of your tasks because I think you can work there. And if you don't get it done, I'll plug it into the next available time, and I'll keep pushing it. So we talked about it. It was an incredibly interesting an interesting service, and I was kind of intrigued by it until I think you and I both saw the price, and the price was about $19 a month to have this. And I think our big takeaway was, this is great idea, way too expensive, right?
Yes, I distinctly remember that conversation now, and very interesting. I love the concept. Absolutely. Price, if it had been less than $10 a month, it might have been something I'd be willing to try out.
Well, let me ask you this, Alan, because I honestly can't remember. Did we have any more discussions about Motion after that you recall?
You're asking me if I recall something that happened earlier than like a few hours ago, and my answer is no, I don't recall. We may have, but I don't recall.
Well, and I asked that because we did talk about it. But when I say we, this was Jeff Hartman and I talked about it, which I had assumed you went back and listened to everything that we talked about, and so that was a wrong assumption there. However, let me actually mention what Jeff and I talked about, which was here. Let me give you a little recap, right?
Okay.
So you and I looked at Motion. You and I looked at Motion together. I showed you my calendar, right? You remember I showed you and said, "Oh, look, it's plugged in." Well, I signed up for their 7-day free trial. Okay. 7 days later, when I believe Jeff and I were on the podcast together, where you weren't available, you obviously did not prioritize our podcast.
Look, I listened. I transcribed the episode.
You did? Okay.
I was so in depth on note taking during the episode because I found it to be thrilling and fascinating. But you know how it is when you're writing notes. Sometimes you don't always absorb what it is you're actually hearing. You're just transcribing. That was what I was doing. That's why I didn't remember it. So.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah. Well, to remind you what you took notes about,
please do.
I did the 7-day trial, and I did the 7-day trial, I think probably a couple of days before you and I met so that I could test it. And then I set myself an alarm that was 7 days later and said, please let me know 2 days before that so that I can cancel the service because I don't want it. And I got the alert, I went on there and said, delete all my data, right? I'm done with it. And then went away, went on my merry way. And then the day before the next podcast, I got the bill in my email that said, you've just been charged $238, which was 1 year worth of Motion.
Oh, no.
Not good. Not happy at all. Here was my issue. Well, one, I got charged, but here was the strategy. I got the email, and probably 30 minutes later after getting the email with the invoice or the receipt, I sent an email in and said, listen, sorry, I completely misunderstood. I thought when I said delete my data that it was actually canceling the service. Yeah, and it wasn't canceling the service. It was just deleting my data from the service. So I wasn't linked anymore, supposedly. So I said, I'm sorry, I completely misunderstood. But obviously you can tell I haven't used it since I initially tried it. And so it's been 30 minutes now. I'm hoping you will kind of reimburse me. So I got a response initially, like an auto response that said, thank you for your note. If you feel like you were charged in error, we will take a look at your account. And, even though it says there is no refund on when you do this, it said most of the time we will honor a refund if you have not activated your account. So, of course, I have activated my account because I put the calendars in there originally, right? So I'm thinking, oh, crap, here we go. They're going to have a loophole. So anyway, I responded, said, thank you. I look forward to your review. And I said, obviously, you can tell with any of your records, you should see that I haven't used it. And I actually tried to delete it. And I just pulled it up again. It looks like it never deleted, even though I said delete the data.
Yeah.
And then I signed it. I said, host of Brothers in Tech, which just reviewed your software.
Yes.
And I said, reviewed your software positively. I said, it just seemed like it was too much for us to justify right now. I said, but we reviewed it positively. So anyway, I got nothing back. Right? Nothing back at all.
So
great. So it really played a lot of weight.
The name dropping our show held absolutely no power whatsoever. Good.
So of course we went on the podcast at that point, and I kind of badmouthed them a little bit on the podcast. Then a couple of days later, I still had not heard back. So I sent another note back and said, hey, I was just checking to see if you reviewed this. As you can tell, I really do not want the service right now. It's not a good time. And I said, I would love to continue to say good things about your service. Signed, Brothers in Tech again. And this was the interesting part. I got an auto response. It had to be an auto response because it came back literally 10 seconds later that said, thank you. Your account has been canceled. You've been reimbursed $238. Okay. Auto. So here's my question, buddy. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like it was set up for you had to put in two issues. Like you had to send them a note twice for it to kick and go, okay, these people are really serious and they're not going to forget about it and we'll reimburse you. And I was really kind of freaked out a little bit by that and want to tell people that maybe that is something that's set in place, that they kind of say, oh yeah, we'll review it, and then wait for you to pester them again.
A second one.
But anyway,
with that same accountant.
Well, yeah, that exact same. Address. And I was going back to the customer support and it was an auto response. It came back right away that says, your account has now been, credited back $238 and thank you very much. Hope you'll try us again in the future or something. Anyway,
so a couple questions.
Yep.
First off, so in your thought process, when you said, you thought to yourself, I don't want this service anymore. I want to cancel this service.
Yep.
So the thinking was you hit the button to say, delete my data.
So there's a big red button.
Right.
There's a big red button in the top right corner that's like delete and it's delete and unlink. That's what it was. I think it was delete and unlink. So I was thinking, oh, good, unlink. I'm in the trial. Yeah, like we're unlinking each other. Now the unlinking part was really about your calendar. It's like get rid of stop noticing my calendar and adjusting my calendar.
It's possible. And the reason I ask is I'm just wondering
if I'm an idiot. No, I'm not an idiot, but I am. Yeah.
That's been predetermined. I'm asking if they're playing a little smart with this and saying, look, we make the button really visible and clear to say, delete your data and unlink.
Yep.
Because maybe they do realize that people are going to click that thinking that they've canceled the service.
Would not be surprised. I mean, if it were me, I would make it hard for someone to cancel. I mean, that most apps make it kind of hard for you to cancel.
The link is they don't want you to hidden somewhere. It's very small text. You got a hyperlink to and all. So I just wonder if that's kind of the thinking process is, hey, look, there is a step you can do to delete your data and unlink the calendars you've got, but it does not cancel your account. It allows you to start fresh.
Right.
So we're going to make sure that option's available. We might make that button kind of a little more visible, and maybe there'll be some people thinking that that's deleting their account, which I could see people thinking.
Sure. And here's my, I will give a tip of the cap to them and say that what wasn't very clear was when I did the delete and unlink, whatever that is, I was doing it on the desktop version. So here's the trick, right? There's an online access to it, this service, and then there's a desktop app. On the desktop app, I pulled it as like, oh, big red button, delete and unlink. And I thought myself, that's cancel. I should not have thought that. And I think now when I go on the online version and try to do the same thing, it does pull up something that says, are you sure you want to delete and unlink? And I think there's something underneath that says, this does not cancel you. I didn't notice that. I was rushing, trying to figure out how to get out of it so that I could move on to another meeting. But so anyway, I will say it is my fault. And I even told them in the email, I said, listen, I totally screwed up. I didn't want this, and I hope you'll respect that. Yeah. The whole 2 email thing was a little sketchy to me. And maybe it was like, hey, they're escalated to the next level. And of course, we're not going to bother with it. That's fine. But here's one thing that I think actually helped was that when I tried to go back in, this was after I realized that I got charged, I went back into the online portal and it still had my calendars linked to it. So even though I'd done it on the desktop version, it still had them linked. So I went and said, unlink, well, 1, cancel, and 2, unlink. And it said, oh, this might take a minute. Tried, came back 5 minutes later, still hadn't unlinked, tried it again, still hadn't unlinked. So I'd send them a screenshot, say, by the way, I don't know if this screws up on your canceling thing, but your unlink thing doesn't really work either. Yeah. So I think that may have helped a little bit to say, all right, well, obviously it may have been partly our fault, but yeah. So here's my thing. I would take away and say they did the right thing. If they would not have reimbursed me, I would be on here every single week for the next year saying I'm getting robbed and shouldn't have. But they did the right thing.
Every week.
They did it very smart.
All right. It's time for Brian's weekly motion rant.
bash of the software. But they did the right thing. It is a cool software. I appreciate their reimbursement given that it was my fault. But I hope that I certainly hope that one, they'll lower the price so that it is a service that some of us would be willing to use, and two, that they take a look a little bit at that customer service link. So there we go. That's my update.
Well, let's take away a kind of an important message, I think, for everybody watching this or listening to this that from your story. And this is really important. You're right. These software services, they do some really good things by letting you most of the time try out the software or try out the website or try out the service for a certain number of days. And I think that's great because, I mean, if they didn't, that would be a problem. I think that would be an issue. Correct. And it would really hurt people not sure if this is going to be the right fit for them to have to make a decision of purchasing something without trying it. So I really respect a lot of these companies putting up great, comfortable trial periods, whether it's 7 days, whether it's a month, whatever it may be. It's great. And I think as consumers, it's important to make use of that time. If it's a piece of software or service that you think you want or think you need, but you're not 100% sure, do the trial. Don't feel like you got to go ahead and buy it. Use that trial period. However, do like Brian did and make a to-do item or to-do note to make sure you go in and cancel. I'd always do mine like several days before the cutoff date because I know I'm going to like snooze it or move it a day or forget it or whatever. So I always try to make sure I'm on top of it a few days before the cancellation date. But just in case, there have been times where even though I have felt a cancellation went through in the past, I still found a charge on my card, or debit card or credit card the next month. So I guess my message to everybody is like, we're dealing with a lot more ongoing monthly subscriptions than we've ever dealt with. There's subscriptions for TV services, there's subscriptions for software and websites and everything else. Please, everybody, just really keep track of your records of what you subscribe to. Cancel those things you don't need or you don't want to pay for after the trial. And also double check and make sure that they're all not showing up anymore on your charge card, because a couple things have slipped by on me. And I remember looking back at my statement and be like, wait a minute, I thought I canceled that. And either come to find out, either I didn't complete the cancellation process or I didn't click the right button the right time.
Yep.
And they're not, I don't feel like they're trying to be tricky, but you're right. They're not going to make it incredibly super easy to cancel because that's just
no. I mean, part of their revenue comes from people forgetting to cancel. And they are building that in. So Alan, I used to have a rule of thumb. It was, I would not sign up for any service in which I had to be the one to cancel the service. So for example, if they said, oh, you get 3 months free. And I would always ask, well, after that 3 months, does it automatically cancel unless I sign up? Or are you saying I'm automatically in unless I cancel? And I used to not do anything that said I had to remember. Well, now I've gotten better, right? So what I do now is I tend to put a reminder, as you said, about 2 days before. And then I'll oftentimes put another reminder about a week later, or I'll snooze it so that after I cancel it, I'll get a reminder to go, hey, double check your credit card just to make sure that didn't go through. And then that's usually a pretty foolproof, because now, a lot of people are giving you 3 months free of this service, 3 months free. If I can remember to cancel, I love to try the things, try things out, maybe even use like some of the TV services and say, hey, get 3 months free. Great. Cause I don't plan on keeping it, as long as I can set that alarm a few days early and, make it prominent so that I don't snooze it and forget about it.
Well, fun tip is some of these TV services, Showtime, Stars, some of these other ones that we haven't really talked about a lot because you and I don't subscribe to a lot of these other ones. We have our core 3 or 4 that we do. Sometimes a show comes out that is on that service and it's a show I really want to watch and all the episodes are available. And there is an option to get that service for 1 month free or some period of time.
Right.
I've made use of that, and I have gone in and done the reminder to say, I'm going to cancel because I'm going to watch this show. I'll watch it in 3 to 4 weeks, and then I'm going to cancel that service because there's nothing else on it I want. And that's totally legitimate. You can do that. There is no penalty for doing that. So if there is a program that where all the episodes are already available, or a movie on a service you really want to see, but you aren't interested in going any further than that one need, take use of the free trial period. Just make sure you do cancel it. And
Yep.
It's important. Yeah. Well, good. We'll find. I hate that was a complication. I'm glad, though, it seems to be resolved.
Yep. They took care of it, and there was no kind of, I didn't have to fight for it. I just had to send 2 emails. So once I sent the second one, it was all done. So.
See, I think what happened though, the first email you sent where you referenced Brothers in Tech, they responded with a form email. But I think that first email made its way up the chain. I think it made it up to the C-suite of this company. I mean, I say C-suite. It's probably like one developer that's like building it like in his office. But anyway, it got to the big cheese, the head honcho, and he's reviewing all these cancellation requests, and he's like, cancel. Oh, wait, hold on. This one, they mentioned Brothers in Tech, and I've listened to that show.
All hell breaks loose.
Whatever. And that's when he pushed the word out. Oh yeah, when they respond again, just go ahead and credit them, please. We got to make sure we got to make this right for them.
Yeah.
So
or they were waiting. They were like, I wonder if they'll email us back because we really love to talk with them. I mean, maybe there was kind of this like, we'd love to connect, or maybe they wanted to see what our next podcast reference was and whether it was positive or negative. And yeah.
So anyway. What you're telling me, Brian, is that you are positive on the actual product. Do you feel like it costs too much for what it does? And there was a little brief moment of a concern with customer service, but it was resolved quickly, and they're okay.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a quirk still of the unlinking and some of those things. But when it was going, and I tried it for that day and a half, whatever I actually used it, it was pretty slick, and I love the idea. I'm hoping that someone like Google or one of the other companies buys it and uses it as part of their service. Maybe Fantastical buys it and says, listen, we'd love to offer it at our next, this feature, offer into our next version of that calendar, because that would be worthwhile if it was an add-on feature. So
cool.
All right. Shall we get into it?
Let's talk AI. Let's talk AI headshots. So last week on the show, I brought up a service that I was willing to try and curious to see how it was going to work. We've been talking about artificial intelligence for a while and just some of the interesting / helpful / scary things that AI can do. And one of the services I brought up, and I'm just going to kind of remind everybody in case anybody was not with us last week. This is the service that I brought up. It is called Try It On. It is at tryitonai.com, like on the screen there. And for $17, you send it between 10 and 20 of your own just regular headshot, not professional headshots, just any photographs of your face that's in your camera, your photo library, wherever it may be. And you send those, and they will then produce for you professional looking headshots, meaning, taking just casual photos that people take and turning them into all different styles of professional photography headshots. I was intrigued, so I did explore and did, as I mentioned last week, I went ahead and submitted. I'll show you what, as a reminder as well, I will show you what I sent them, because I think it's important to see the quality of things that were being sent.
Yes.
So these were the photos that were sent from my camera roll, and I did go in and crop them down to just my face. But as you can see from these photos, I mean, none of them are professional photos. Okay. Some of them are pretty bad. That one's pretty darn goofy. I don't know what I was doing. That's the only one that is a professionally shot photo. That was for a photo shoot for a magazine. And so, I got that one. So that one's good. All the rest are ones I did myself. And my hair, my face is all fairly consistent. I am wearing things in a couple shots. Oops, hold on. Got hung up there. Oh. Yeah. So, but not a lot of variation. I mean, it's pretty much me all the time. Looks about the same. There's Moon Knight in the background. I forgot he was there. I'm wearing a ball cap. So you get the idea, though. It's just your head and shoulders. So I felt like I gave it a pretty decent representation. I was a little concerned that my eyes are squinting in about half the photos. I did not know if that was going to impact anything in the final photos they generate for me. I was also curious that in one photo I have a cat on my shoulder. Thought that was interesting. Didn't know if it was going to mess that up.
Would you have had a cat coming out of your head?
That was I was curious about. So
So let's just say according to the instructions on Try It On AI, you didn't follow all the instructions. So let's put it that way, right? It said, nothing that's pixelated. Some of yours are pixelated. It said, no, don't wear ball cap, I think, or something, a hat. And then it said, don't include your hands. Your hands are in a couple of them, even the professional one. So you kind of went out and said, well, listen, here's what I have. I'm not going to be picky about it. You threw them in there, right?
Yeah, because I was also trying it from a casual user standpoint. I mean, my thing is, I don't think many of us just have natively in our camera, our phone camera roll, really nice, clean head and shoulder shots where there's not another face near us, or we don't have hands in the shot, or there's, whatever. So I really wanted to kind of be realistic. I feel like 75% of my shots kind of followed the rules. 25% of them, I feel like they did bend those rules somewhat. Yeah.
So shall we take a look and see?
Yeah, let's take a look. Now, look, I'll go ahead and admit, for people listening on an audio podcast, this whole part of the show is probably pretty useless for you.
Don't worry. I'll verbally describe what I see on Alan here. Yeah, let's keep that going.
All right. So I submitted these 20 photographs, and about 24 hours later, I got an email saying, hey, here's a link. And these are the photos it generated for me. And I'm going to actually pull these up and we can take a look at them. And there's 100 of them. That's the other thing to mention. For $17, it creates 100 headshots. I will go ahead and tell you, Brian, let me just go back to the full range here. I'm going to kind of grow these out a little bit just to start. In general, I'm amazingly impressed by this for me. Okay. I think it did an amazing job for me. I cannot
please keep saying that. Please keep saying for you.
Based on my shots, I thought turned out pretty good. I'd say 75% of these are ones I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep.
There's about a quarter of them, maybe a third of them that I'm like, no, that's not me. It doesn't quite work. But just to kind of hit some highlights, it's got, it gave me the professional look in a lot of these photos. I realized there are about 9 different styles of photos you could choose that you wanted it to use. I did not read the instructions carefully enough. I only chose 2, even though the instructions said you could actually choose more than 2. So I wish I'd checked all 9 because I would have been curious to see how those turned out. But I just got the basically professional and kind of casual professional guys. So that,
not bad.
As I show these photos to people, I'm like, that one.
So this was pretty impressive. So for those who can't see, this looks like Alan is running for president, and he got a professional shot.
Absolutely,
like the president. I mean, it is a very and let me give 2 things. One, it's a very appealing picture. 2, it looks like you. Okay, this looks like you. This looks like if you would have sent me this, I would have said, okay, someone doctored a picture of Alan, but it was a picture of Alan. Like that's the way I would have viewed that and said, that is Alan, but someone doctored it to make him a little, cleaner, soften it up, right? Something like that. So that's Brian, what you want. That's what you want on a headshot.
This is what I was looking for. And it's like I've zoomed in and I'm trying to find if there's any little weird AI imperfections. Not really. The side of the mustache there looks a little odd, like there's some sort of weird curve to the side of the mustache. But I mean, that hair, that is the hair, the way my hair looks right after I leave the barber shop, and they've actually done something nice with it.
And by the way, none of your pictures showed hair that nice, I don't think.
No, that's the thing. All of my hair
right.
was pretty. I mean, it was brushed, but I mean, it was. It's nothing quite polished like this. So I don't know how it got that. Now, some of these I did notice it did some variation where it tried to show some age at times. So I got some photos that made it look older. This one, I think, added a little bit of age to me. Also,
but it also, I don't. If you sent me this, I would say that's not you.
Yeah, that's one of the more AI generated ones. Yeah. Now these black and white ones, I think, are very good.
Yep. This is you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it totally looks like me. Actually, I'm using one of these black and white ones as my Facebook profile picture, and people commenting about how nice it is. That one, I think my son said it looks like I'm like the founder of some kombucha store or something like that. Yep. I was like,
I could go with that.
So I did notice one thing that was kind of whoops. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I did notice one thing as I zoom in on these AI things. I don't know what this little white.
I was going to ask you, what is that? Is that you with an injury? Do you have an injury there where you're taped up shoulder or something?
Somehow it created that in the AI environment, which again, is one of those little artifacts that you see sometimes in these AI photos that you can't really understand how it got it. Something triggered that in one of the photos or a combination of photos I sent before.
Even though that's a photo you would probably not use either, that looks like you. Again,
it does look
that is you. If you sent me that, I said that absolutely is my brother, and somehow they touched up a picture.
It looks like one of those Instagram filters where it's kind of like just makes you like
soft,
a little more soft, and all that. Yeah.
Yep.
Now this, I think this looks good too. It's a little different face style, but
it's slightly different. I could see this being a couple of years down the road, but yet I'd still look at it and go, well, I think that's him, but that's not him right now.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Which is good.
So my wife brought up a good point. Even though this doesn't quite look like me, this is 1950s style.
Yep.
Mad Men style photo. I'm like, okay, well, if I look at it in that lens, I kind of get it. Okay.
Yeah.
My hair's not quite like that. But
that's just not quite your face, but yet it is a very cool photo.
Kind of a retro version,
but I don't think it's you. If you sent me that, I would not say that was you.
Right. Now
it's a little older.
This is like an old version of me that it generated. And look, if that's the way I look when I'm older, I'm cool with it. That's good by me. I'm okay with that. This is me kind of, I can't tell if I'm like hanging out at the Outer Banks, retirement age. I don't know if this is me. I don't think it's not farmer mode. I'm not,
no, I don't think that's farmer. I think
definitely retired, working out in the backyard, type of thing. So
yeah, that's you at a reunion, sitting in the corner, but your ears are bad. You can't hear what people are saying, and you're just smiling, and you're saying, "That's great, sounds good, right?" So, don't touch
Ryan,
me.
That actually sounds like me now. So
see, AI knows you.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not your face.
This is not my your face. No. Good try, AI, but didn't quite get that one. Okay, so this is the angry 1940s style Alan Jackson, and I love it. I kind of want to pull this look off. I think this works. This is a very intense look. I look good in the tux. I'm like, you know what? It's dramatic, but I like it. I think it actually works okay, and it looks like me, right?
Yep, it does. Yep, I absolutely would say that's you.
This one's kind of in the middle, and believe me, I can't go through all 100 this pace, Brian, because it'll take all night. But this one's kind of in the middle. It's close enough to me where I think I could in a rare situation pull it off as me.
Yeah,
but it's just on that border where I don't know.
Yeah, I would think twice if I got it to say, is that my brother, or is that just a look-alike, right? And there's a little weird thing going on with the left eye there. Your left eye, there's kind of a different.
This is where I kept looking at the eyes, because I know AI tends to have a reputation for not getting the eyes extremely well. So this one, you do see the eyes look kind of like two different eyes.
Yep.
There's a couple of weird things going on there. Got a weird little bump on my ear. I don't know if you can see that in the corner there. some things.
But still, I mean, pretty darn.
There's me with
good.
angry Casablanca Alan is what I call it. So
yeah, angry constipated Alan. Yeah,
that's it. That's kind of a variation on the first one or one of the early ones we saw that we really liked. This one, I will say,
damn,
eyes are a little weird.
Yep.
Okay, just a bit. But otherwise,
but you know what? You could touch up the eye. I really do. I mean, you could touch that up, and that's a pretty darn good picture.
I agree.
Yep.
There's my kombucha salesman again. Okay, now it's experimenting with my hair, and that's not my hair. But I appreciate
yeah.
I appreciate what AI is trying to do. Is trying to say, hey, you might want to consider wearing your hair like this. Who knows? I'm like, no, it's not quite, but close. Now that's me.
That is true. That's your face. But
very polished.
Hair is very odd. But
yeah. I've had my hair look like that coming out of the barbershop sometimes, so I can see that. Yeah.
I think what we're getting across to most people is that all of these are either Alan or they're very close.
Or it's like
I have yet to see where I go, oh my gosh, there is no way that is you. And there is some. That's really good. And then that's really good.
That's good.
That's really good, actually. Yeah.
There's my dramatic one again, which is good.
Yep.
Eyes are a little weird.
Nope, it's not bad.
Okay, now I'll just go ahead and say, I don't know if she's watching or not. My wife saw this photo and was like, I'm keeping this one.
No, okay. Did you follow up? Be like, honey, are you keeping it because it actually looks like me, or are you keeping me because it doesn't look like me?
It looks nothing like me. This is now what your secret fantasy is. I don't know. But yeah, this is me on a New York City streetscape, looking like I just looks like I'm a member of the Succession cast. So that's kind of
you just got out of directing a movie, and you're on the streets. Yeah, here's the leather jacket. Here we go.
Here's my wannabe biker version. There's a couple photos like this. This one I don't think looks like me because it's just a little too polished. That though, I think face wise looks a lot like me. Yeah,
it does.
All right, this is the one that probably to me looks the least like me of almost all these traditional photos.
Yeah, that's not you.
I don't know what's going on there. That face is not me at all. So that one's probably the most just awkwardly not me. Except for maybe one more. There's one more. There's one more we'll get to. So I'm just gonna fly through these, Brian. I'm taking a lot of time. Teeth are a little weird. See some weird stuff on the teeth.
Eyes are weird.
AI artifact. AI eyes as well. That was good. That's
not bad. Not bad. Teeth are a little bit odd, but good.
Yeah.
I love the shadowing. Yep. It's good.
It's going a little too crazy with the hair in this one.
Yep.
Trying to give me a little more hair than I need. And that's much older, distinguished Alan.
Yep. It looks a little bit like our grandfather, and
does. Yep.
And that's you.
That's me.
That is you.
Yep. Again, my wife has this one clipped out. That's me. I see that.
A little weird stuff going on with the arm on that one, but
no, that's one. Okay. At this point, AI is like, I really, Alan, want you to have more hair. I need you to have more hair. This is where it kind of got crazy. I'm like, no, that doesn't work. So, okay. Keep going. I'm only at number 35. I can't do all 100 at this pace. So here we go.
No, we might have to go zoom out here.
This one looks so unlike me, I think. That's a bad one.
Yeah, it's not you. I wouldn't say so unlike you, because there's been some others that I think a little bit more. But no, you sent me this, and it would be like, oh, okay, there's someone who kind of resembles my brother, but not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
Okay, good.
There you go. That's you.
Good. Love it.
That's you.
Oh yeah, love these. I think these are great. It made me a little grayer, but I like it. I like the look.
Nope. It's good.
That's the one I'm using.
Wait a minute. Go back real quick. Go on the last one, Alan. What is the pin? Because it's interesting when a pin gets added.
The pin is
so there's a lapel pin.
The pin has shown up a few times, and it's indiscernible. You can't really see what shape it is. I thought it was a flag at one point, but it doesn't really show up as a flag. So I don't know what the pin is, but the pin has been there in a few photos.
Yeah. So if you're listening, it was a lapel pin on a suit jacket, which pretty interesting that it would add that unless it was part of the natural jacket that is building
I
up
think
this other
that's part
stuff
of the
from, right?
jacket that they're just kind of putting my head on. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my Facebook profile photo right now. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people say it looks just like me. I've also had some people say they don't ever see me looking that serious and angry. So I guess, but I like it.
Isn't that an interesting one though, Alan? Going back to that, it's black and white, but your ear is red. So there's another piece that you would almost want to tweak that to make it black and white to use it. But yep.
Okay. Nope. I don't feel like that's me. Yep.
No, that looked like the company of the president of a plumbing company that wanted to get a picture.
Good. I'm good. I like that.
Yeah.
No, I'm a little. I think the body shape and face shape is weird on that one. I love Old Man Allen. I think Old Man Allen looks awesome. I can't wait to be Old Man Allen. So, no, that doesn't look like me.
That's you.
Really
That's not you.
That again, my wife's favorite. That one's okay. That one's good. Yeah. I mean,
the eyes are a little weird, but that's okay. I'd still say it's you. That's still
me too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Old Man Allen, still loving that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Pseudo biker Allen. Old Man Allen. News anchor Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
1950s Allen.
50s anchor. Yeah. 50s actor.
Still don't know who this guy is, but so all right. So we're getting through these. They're pretty. I mean, again, Brian, I'm saying the ratio. Okay, this one.
So far, I've seen probably even 15 that you could say I would have you use and not think twice about it.
Yes,
and you could actually say that was you.
Yep. I actually created favorites out of these 100, and I think there's about 15 of them. Like, love them. I think they're perfect. Yep. I could use these in everyday life, and it would be fine. Yeah, these are all okay. Now there is one coming up that is different, and I do want to talk about it because I think it's just fascinating. I love the photo. I just think it's interesting the choice it made.
Yeah.
Again, wife loves it. That's good, and not so much. Okay, so this one came up, and obviously AI threw in one photo where it made me African American.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is me. I mean, I see it in the face. Okay.
Well,
I think it's fascinating, Brian. It however it used my mechanics of me and showed what I would be in a different race, different ethnic makeup. And I think it's fascinating because it's a really good photo. And people I've shown this to say, I mean, yeah, that looks like you. That looks like how you would look if you were African American. And I'm like, that's really, really cool. I mean, it's weird that it threw in one photo out of 100 to be so dramatically shift of the makeup. I mean, I'm like, genetic makeup of the me, and the other 99 were. So what's your thoughts on what was?
Well, I mean, there has to be something in its metrics that said, okay, your face, the way it's laid out compared to all of our millions and millions of pictures that we have built in, that there's some pieces that connect to a black individual or connect to someone of a different race, which again, it's kind of fascinating. I don't personally see it as much as you do. I don't see you in there, except certainly the beard, the shape of the face, right? Some of those things I don't. Maybe a little bit of the eyes, but not necessarily around the eyes. But
yeah, I've gotten a lot of people saying this. Oh yeah, I totally see you in it.
Okay.
And I just thought it was interesting, but I guess I was surprised that if it was going to do this and try to show
it would happen more often.
Right. It would happen more often and with different ethnicities as well, which I was kind of surprised by. Unless it again, like you said, identified me more with features that it kind of closer related in its database to that of Black Americans. So
yeah. Well, the other thing though is that it also tells you that, because I think we talked last week about, because you were waiting for, I don't know how many hours you waited to get your photos back, that I said, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if someone is doing a little bit of a filtering where they look and go, are we close? And if so, you you would assume they would have pulled this out really quickly, right? To say, okay, we're not going to put anything in there that is a completely different,
obviously
race
not
or
not
whatever. Yeah. Like if a female popped up and you say, because you have longer hair, we'll put some, you would think someone would filter those out because they want to stay in business and make it look like everything is right. So I thought that part kind of made me think, well, this really is just AI doing it, right? It's kind of spitting these
I think it's
out.
a beautiful photo. I love it. I'm actually
photo.
kind of encouraged to know how I would turn out if I was of that race. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, no,
it's awesome. It looks
fantastic.
Really good. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna breeze through the last 20 of these. That one, look, I have a shirt that exact same color.
Dude, I think I've had a picture of you that's just like that. So
that might be the most like realistic of me photo where I'm like, yeah, that's totally me. Like no question about it. Yeah, that one I kind of buy too. All right, nope. Yeah.
Yep.
Older
you.
A little too polished there, a little too.
Right.
That's a good looking photo. Again, the eyes on this particular pose are a little weird, but I love the rest of the shot.
Are you wearing a chain on that one?
I don't know what that is. It's not a chain. It's like a blemish. It's some sort of weird generated dot. So
a wart.
Yeah,
it added a wart. Okay.
Yeah, it added a wart to my chest. That's awesome. 50s. We've seen several like this already. Several like this. So again,
yours just. I mean, 80% of these they are you. 80% of these are you, which is pretty dang impressive.
Yeah, that one doesn't.
And then there's 20% that are not, that are just a random guy they threw in there.
So that's also a really good photo there too. That one does not. That one I don't feel like does. And the last one's that one, which is okay. Yeah, if I go back, Brian, if I actually told it to filter down to my favorites, those are the 10 that I picked out that I'm like, you know what? I'm on board with these. I do like these a lot.
Yeah, you could use them all.
Absolutely. So, Brian, I was really impressed with the result that came back from me. I was honestly surprised because I think I even said on the show last week, this is either going to be just a train wreck and we're going to have fun picking this apart, or I could be moderately impressed. I did not expect to be as impressed with the photos as I was. Now, I'd like to hear your experience.
I bet you would.
I honestly, I've got photos now that I'm using. I mean, one of those I use as my Facebook profile. I'm tempted to use a couple of them as like a professional bio shot, in some documents. I mean, but I'm really curious to see, because you did say you did the same process, and you seemed less enamored with your photos.
I am less enamored. And from the research that I've done, I think my experience is very similar to a lot of people's experience. Okay. And I'll tell you why, or I'll tell you what led to that. I am struggling to find maybe even 3 or 4 that I think would actually be me. Like I would feel confident giving to someone saying that is me.
Okay.
Right. And I'll let you make the decision. Maybe I have a completely skewed perception of myself, but so these are the pictures, Alan. These are the pictures I submitted, and you'll notice I actually did take a bunch of selfies, just like it said, because I went back and looked through my Google Photos and realized I actually don't have any selfies around in there. Maybe I had like 3 or 4. So some of these. So going from top left, right? I think I had that one still. I had bottom or top right. I had the weird looks on the second row, most of those, but everything else down at the bottom, those are all ones I took before. And I did exactly what it said to do. It said, have different backgrounds, have different clothes. So I actually went in my closet, grabbed like 7 different shirts, and I swapped them out, went to a different room, took a selfie because I wanted to make sure it knew this is me right now. Right. I wanted to check it. And I put in, was this 20? Let's see, 5, 15, 19. So there's 19 photos there, right? And it did make me cancel a couple that I had in there that were too small. All right. Okay, Alan, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on just a second. Okay. All right. So
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So hold on a second. Let me zoom out, see if we can get, maybe we can get multiple on a page here. Hold on a second. I want to see if we can. That's not zooming out. There we go.
Okay, there we go. That's good. Oh my gosh.
Okay, now maybe it's me, but I don't think these are me at all.
All right. Oh no, Brian, no.
These are not me. No. These look like they were just cut out. Okay, now bottom left, maybe, but not even quite.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
I'm not even confident I would use that at all.
That's the best one I've seen so far, but it's not saying a lot.
I don't know what's going on the right over here.
What is it with? Did a different AI assisted computer take on your project instead of mine and be like, whatever, I'm just gonna.
And I think it was interesting. I did get actually several that showed an African American kind of skin tone.
But even that, Brian, go back up to that. That doesn't look like you either.
No,
I mean, I don't see any of the similarities other than
I don't really see it. I don't really see it. I don't see it. I don't see it.
These are terribly disappointing, Brian.
They are bad. Now, could I express on the left over here that maybe in 5 years, maybe I don't know.
No, I still don't think so. I don't see it at all. Okay. The one on the left, the older version of you
right here. Yeah.
Maybe.
In a few years, maybe. I could see that.
Possibly see that. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God, Brian, these are horrible.
They are terrible. Okay.
Okay. One on the left.
One on the left, I'd say, you know what? Okay, that's been a long time. It's been several years back, whatever. I could see that someone could argue that maybe that was partially me.
Yeah.
So there's one. I just mentioned one.
I mean, I'll say there's been 3 so far that I'm like, I could kind of
maybe you think about it. Yeah.
Maybe. No.
Nope.
No. Oh God, that one on the left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope. I've seen Brian with hair, and that is not Brian with hair. No, nothing. Okay, the one on the right.
On the right. Yeah, I could say, maybe at some point, but not now. That's the thing. It's not me now. It's me maybe at some point.
I don't understand where they're getting these from.
I don't either.
Okay, the one on the left, I see a little bit.
That's one of the ones I pulled out. I was like, oh, maybe I could potentially say.
Yeah.
The one on the right here, maybe.
I feel like it's repeating some too.
Yeah. And these are, I don't know. I just was really kind of surprised. I wasn't sad because I didn't do it for $17 really caring that much, but I was like, come on.
You didn't go to a professional photographer and spend
okay.
The one on the right. And
could
the
one on the left. Maybe, could these maybe, right? And the right lighting. Yeah. I could see potential.
Actually, the one on the left is actually better.
It's probably one of my only that I said, you know what, I maybe could use it. But nope.
Wow.
Nope. Maybe on the right, but I think that's repeat maybe or something.
It's not a good photo of you. What?
Maybe on the right.
Yeah, that whole serious dark side of Brian.
The athletic gear, sort of like, it's covering up part of my head.
It's okay.
Right.
Man.
But nothing, man. I'm telling you,
why am I so sad about this? Why am I so disappointed? I don't know. I guess
it's
seeing mine.
I was going to say, seeing yours, and I would have been okay had I seen some pictures that I just felt like it looked like me. Even if I didn't like the look, I would have like, oh, well, at least it was me. So on the right here's ones that you didn't get, right? You didn't get some of the.
I didn't do the neon
stuff. I did select all of them because you told me, hey, you could do that. Which in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have, because maybe it would have put more variations within the same area. But
the one on the left, the black and white ones.
Yeah.
Not really.
I have a hard time saying that was me, and that's it.
Gosh, there was maybe 5, if that were kind of a stretch.
Yep. So now, for me,
that one in the bottom left corner. Okay, the face, I see you. Obviously, it put hair on you, which I'm not used to seeing anymore.
Yep.
And that's not hair you would have had anyway. Yeah, I'm really like 4 or 5, maybe.
So Alan, let's compare process here. Yeah. Let's compare process. Okay. Sure. So with your process, you put in pictures you already had, lots of variation of pictures, lots of variation of quality. Would you say your looks that you had? I mean, you didn't have a ton of variation. You had mostly the beard you have now. You had head tilts in different ways and different things because they were just random, regular pictures.
I'll say this, Brian. I went back, I think about 3 years of photos.
Yeah.
And found all the ones where I'm in. And even if I was with a crowd of people, I still cropped it down to just my face. And yeah, I do have the beard and mustache exactly the same in every photo. That's been unchanged for the last several years. I feel like my hair is, well, it's similar, but I mean, it does range from fairly short to a little long in some places.
So this is where I wonder if like some of it has to do with there was no variation in my hair, right? I mean, every one of my pictures is bald, and I kind of wonder if like it's going, well, there's only so much we can do with this that takes away from, I don't know if it's one of the pieces. I also thought that maybe I thought, well, I followed the instructions. I got headshots that were all they were all good. I mean, they were all selfies that were taken with my face in it, so they would have enough detail. So I thought, well, there's no way it'll screw up the actual look that I have. But oh, was I wrong? Let me tell you the other difference, Alan. How long did yours take to come back?
Like 24 hours, I think.
Mine took 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I kind of wonder if it's like, you know what? Let's just give them all the stuff we already had. We had another bald guy yesterday. Let me just go ahead and spit those out.
Because it's true. A lot of those photos look like the same bald guy, just not you.
Right. Just not me. Right.
Maybe they got the order mixed up. Well, I'm baffled by that. You told me that it didn't turn out as well, and I was expecting it to be, not as much, like not 75% like mine was where it looked like me, but I'm shocked at how not like you it looked like.
Yeah, and I was pretty disappointed, but also, kind of good for a tech show to be able to show two different experiences. Now, were all those pictures good? Did I see any screwy things with the pictures coming out of my head and all that? They're all good pictures. They're just not me, and that's the unfortunate part. Is that you're not getting connected.
Let me throw in one more piece that might help maybe shed some light on the discussion here a bit. So my wife inquired about wanting to have, and she was curious to see how it would be for her to do this. And I remember telling her up front, I said, okay, I'll do it. Sure. I'll pick out a good assortment of photos. I said, but here's my only concern, honey, is that your look changes a lot. So I can get 20 photos of you, but they're not going to, like, your hair is always different. It's either going to be pulled up. Sometimes it's straight.
It's going to have a hard time figuring out who you are, right?
Sometimes she's wearing glasses. Sometimes she's not. Sometimes she's wearing a lot of makeup. Sometimes she doesn't. And it's like, you've got different looks. And I'm like, I'm really curious. And my fear is that it's not going to be as good because it's not going to see enough commonality on every photo to work with. And I think that's what played in my favor, is that I did have tons of commonality. Like there wasn't a lot of variation for me at all.
Right.
But there's more variation than you. That's what I don't understand.
I was going to say mine was probably as similar as you can get.
So anyway, I got Suzanne's back in. I haven't shown them to her yet because I don't think they turned out that good. But I will say this, after seeing yours, they're better than yours.
Yeah. I mean, some of them look like her. They're just probably not.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a third of the ones that she got that I'm like, wow. That could work. That's okay. That's interesting. The other 2/3, it's a lot more distorted. I noticed with hers, there were more AI weird artifacts than I saw in either of ours. And I do think that has to do with
the weird,
a lot of variation
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you've got to imagine if you got a computer crunching all these photos, and it's like, okay, well, here's photo one where hair's pulled back and she's wearing glasses and she's got, red lipstick on. Then here's photo two, and she's got these big earrings on and her hair is curlier and full and she's not wearing glasses. And I could see how that would start to cause a computer simulation to throw in some weird estimations and guesses and artifacts.
Well, I would imagine anything. Yeah. If you big earrings would, I mean, how does AI know it's earrings and not, hair that curls out and kind of, it just seems like it would trip it up. I don't think I gave it anything to trip up on as far as I can tell. And yet,
if anything, I would have said that yours should have been the most consistent of anybody's.
Right.
Because you're all 19 of those photos you showed me, you looked exactly the same.
Yep. And they were. I mean, at least half of them were taken within 30 minutes of each other. So
how do you screw up the face when you've got 20 almost 20 identical photos of that space, of the same face?
Right. And you got to wonder if one or two is what's causing something to happen, right? Something tweaks some way that I don't know. So anyway, I would just urge people to don't have amazingly high expectations, because you're hopefully going to be very pleased and excited. If you have low expectations, if you have high expectations, there's a good chance you're going to be disappointed. If you're like Alan, I think he is thrilled, and I would be too. Like seeing what you have, I think, my gosh, there's 30 pictures there that you could pawn off as you tomorrow easily, and people would be like, "Wow, when did you?" That doesn't look like what you would normally do, but yet it's awesome. And
Brian, I will tell you, and just I know we've officially exceeded our hour, so we are on par with our normal episode.
Good. Yeah,
we've wanted to make sure we at least hit that mark. Me putting one of those photos up on Facebook as my profile photo, and I let it sit up there for a little while before I said anything about it. When I did make a comment, people were like, "Oh my gosh, either that looks just like you," or "Great photo," whatever. A couple of people were like, "You look so angry," or "You look, that looks like a different version of you," type of thing. That's when I put up and said, "Well, okay, this was actually generated by a computer. This is AI generated. I did not pose for this photo. It just built this off of other random photos I had." It actually caused a little bit of some comments from people who are actually in the photography business. I've got 2 or 3 friends who they do headshots for a professional living. And I was quick to let them know, it's like, "Hey, look, I'm not advocating that this is perfect, because it's not. And I've got several photos that I would not be putting up because I don't think that they look like me." I said, "But the fact is, it's a little bit of a garbage in, garbage out situation. I think I take pretty decent photos, even with my camera phone. I feel like I was able to get a good assortment of photos of myself. Imagine if I, being a photographer, were to take really great photos, well-lit photos, different angles, different shapes, and different backgrounds, and really use my photography skill to get great looking shots of somebody, and then I submit them to a service like this."
Be interesting.
I'm curious if because, to put in all the different backgrounds and all the different settings, some photographers can't do that, or it's, cost prohibitive, or they don't have all the background and gear and things to create those exact looks. I'm wondering if this could be a compliment to photographers if you start with really good photos that a photographer takes.
Right. Yep.
Feed it into AI and let AI generate these really cool poses and backgrounds and kind of stylistic looks.
Clothing that you would not have on you to be able to do a photo shoot to begin with.
So that's kind of could be interesting. So that may be kind of my next experiment at some point, is actually going into my photo studio with a really nice camera, really nice lighting in my room, taking in different shirts and putting up different color background, just static color backgrounds behind me, and say, "Okay, I'm going to take 20 photos in a really good studio environment and then submit into this." And I'm curious if that's going to make them better, or could it make them worse? Because now, looking at your example, I'm actually wondering, could it actually hurt it, the fact that they are more similar? And I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it tries to extrapolate too much when it doesn't see the variation. I don't know. But it did not. And given the fact that it came back in an hour, that also kind of makes me think, like, all right, was it too simple of an algorithm where it just got tripped up with one of them and said, "Here you go"? I don't know. It was disappointing, but it was also nice for us to see a comparison.
Here's what I will say, and kind of to cap this off, my thoughts on the whole experience. I think it's really, really interesting. I think there's some good, exciting things out of this, but I think we've also illustrated that it's not going to I don't feel like it's going to put any photographers out of business anytime soon.
Yeah, put it this way. I think it will. I don't think it'll put photographers out of business. No, you're right. But I think what it will do was give people who would never go to a photographer an opportunity to potentially have something that could go on a LinkedIn profile or something to say, you know what, at least I make it look like I have a professional photo. Now, should they go and get a professional photo that shows their personality more with somebody? That's what I've read actually is kind of the benefit of going to photographers. Like you can say, this is the kind of personality I want to exhibit. You can't really do that here.
That's right.
But for people that would never do it, I have never had a professional photo headshot. I've never had someone do it even for a business or anything. So for me, I was like, oh, it'd be great to have one that I looked as though it was polished enough that I could put it somewhere. But unfortunately, I don't feel like I got any that I would feel confident do that. Maybe one, but
I'm still shocked at that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's, but I also have to put this little caveat that we all have to remember. This technology, I don't think existed a year ago.
That's right. Yep.
And I think where it is already. I mean, Brian, barring your situation and a little bit of my wife's situation, barring that, if I was just basing it off of mine, I'm like, here in the last year, this AI technology, it did pretty good. I mean, and it's only going to get better. It's not like it's going to get worse over time. I mean, it's going to keep refining and getting improving. So
that's right.
It's an interesting situation, interesting world.
Yep. And it's exciting. I mean, there's so much that's happened within those months. Can be scary for certain people. And there's parts of it that I'm scared about. So seeing yours, then I think to myself, okay, so can I trust any picture that I see in the future of you, Alan, to know whether or not it was really you? And what if I see a picture of you breaking into someone's house and guess what? I don't know if that was really you or if that was someone else. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you think of worst case scenarios. But for this particular situation for you, getting headshots that you could feel confident saying, someone that sees this can say that is me. That is what I look like, right? I think you won in spades right there. I mean, you really did. It was excellent. So, congrats.
No, thanks. Well, kind of to continue this conversation another time in the future, I'd like for us to dig into and talk a little bit about only because I run a film festival every year, and we're currently in the process of screening different films that we may be bringing. And I caught up with a really interesting documentary about deep fake technology.
Yeah. Yep.
And especially how it became a real issue in kind of is it kind of considered revenge porn, kind of people able to put other people's faces, like ex-girlfriends or something like that, on somebody else's body and in compromising situations and embarrass them. And there's a whole documentary about a lot of some cases around that and how really scary it is. And I do think this probably warrant to kind of still continue a discussion at some point about some true dangers, because I do think the deep fake, meaning that's the whole situation where you put somebody else's face on another person's head on video. So in other words, you're seeing them talk, you're seeing them move, and they look like somebody else. They do it a lot with famous actors now and actresses because there's tons of footage out there they can use to copy from. But I mean, it's going to be used for politicians. It's going to be used for other situations where and Brian just lost. I just lost Brian again. This is twice, by the way, during the show that Brian has skipped out on me. Last time he cut the show off by accident. That's why there was a 9-second show that we broadcast earlier tonight. I don't know if anybody's still watching right now or listening. If you are, hi, I'm Alan. Brian's gone. He left. And so it's just going to be you and me for a couple more seconds until I bring him in. Again, this is twice he's done this to me. Twice. And fool me once. I know he's here. I see you waving, Brian. I'm relishing this moment for a minute. Before I bring you back in. Fool me once. Okay. You fool me twice though. I guess shame on me. I should know that this is going to happen again. So, hey Brian, how you doing?
Hi. Yeah.
You hit the leave studio button. I take
No. For about the last 5 minutes, I've gotten the error on my screen that says your system has run out of application memory. And so I have been purposely trying to force quit as many of those things as I can. And it keeps showing it, even though I quit quite a few of them. So I don't know what exactly was taking a lot of my memory, but it just quit on me. It dropped me out. So Google Chrome seemed to be kind of eating it up, I guess. But
that's our
show. Anyway, you figured it out? You figured it all out? It's all good?
Yeah. We got it all figured out. Me and the audience.
Great.
We had a moment. We figured it all out. It's all done. AI is solved. We have solved all the inherent dangers of AI. If you're interested in those answers, you'll have to tune back next week because I'll share them with you then. I think we are done, Brian. I mean, this is interesting. I think so. I know it may seem like we were just kind of showing off a little bit of a gimmick thing, but I really think there's some interesting notes in there about how AI is working and how much is depending on what type of inputs it's getting from us to do it. But also at the same time, I think we found that there might be some situations where that's not working as intended, or maybe we're not feeding it the right kind of inputs to get the kind of output we want. So it's curious questions to be asking going forward, I think. So,
Yep. So if you do it, just don't necessarily go into it with super high expectations. Go into it with an exploration, and if it works, great. If not, $17. It's not the end of the world.
It's true.
So that's the way I'm looking at it. I didn't get anything out of it other than we helped our listeners, hopefully, to understand some variability.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Brian.
All right.
That's going to wrap us up for tonight. That's been fun conversation. We'll definitely be talking about AI more in the future. But if anybody has any thoughts, comments, questions, or even comments in general about AI and the kind of the technology we were using tonight, Brian, how can they open up a dialogue with us about it?
Well, send us an email or have your AI generated person send us an email at info@themesh.tv. And you can also go to our website at www.brothers-in-tech.com.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Brian, thanks a lot. Good talking to you. Thanks for watching or listening. And we will be back next week with more Brothers in Tech, talking home, personal, family technology. Until then, take care. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
God, I always forget.